Okay, good morning, students. Today we are going to start first chapter of history of 10th standard. Here, the first chapter is the rise of nationalism in Europe. In this chapter, we will learn how Europe raced towards nationalism and how the other countries got influenced by Europe and they also move towards nationalism. In this chapter, what we will learn, let's see. So in this chapter, we will be learning about emergence of nation state, how different European countries emerged as a nation state, then the making of nationalism in Europe, age of revolutions, the time period which is given here is 1830 to 1848, the making of Germany and Italy, that means these two countries also emerged as the different and separate nation states, visualizing the nation, and nationalism and imperialism. Okay, to understand this chapter we need to understand first of all it's very important for you all to understand the basic terms. Like here we are discussing about some important terms which will make easy for you all to understand the further explanation of the chapter. So the first term which I am going to take is nationalism. What is nationalism? A feeling of love or pride for our country. From this definition you should understand, like, when people belong to same nation, the desire of those people is seen same, right? They share same race, same culture, same language, etc., and they form an independent country, and this is called as nationalism. Being an Indian, it should not be difficult for you all to understand that what is nationalism. Whenever it comes on our country, we all becomes, we all come together. We all come together to fight against, like right now if you see, against corona, everybody has same intention, right? We all are together to fight against this pandemic, right? Now the second term which I want to explain here is nation state. The people who belong to same nation, they have same culture, same language and same history, and they have formed an independent country, and that particular country is called as nation state. Again here, like, we are living in a nation state itself. India is a nation state, right? Whether you belong to Gujarat, whether you belong to Maharashtra, whether you belong to Uttar Pradesh, or whether you belong to West Bengal, you fall under a same nation, right? We all have same culture, we have same official language, right? We have same history, right? So I think you people are getting the meaning of word nation state. The third term given here is absolutist, and it actually refers to the kind of government which was seen in the initial stages of the further discussed countries, right? Absolutist means a government or system of rule that has no restraints on the power exercised. The term refers to a form of monarchical government that was centralized, militarized, and repressive. That means whatever rules, whatever orders, whatever decisions were taken by this sort of government, they were not right, they were final, right? They cannot be questioned. The people who were falling under the orders, they were not given any chance to just ask for any other option. They were supposed to follow them. Absolutist, right? No other restraint. So there are two very important terms which you can learn in here. That means no restraints, and the second one is monarchical kind of government, right? Now the next word which we are getting here is utopian. Utopian, it is a sort of vision of a society that is so ideal that it is unlikely to actually exist. Suppose we are living in a society where everybody is so happy, we can see love all around. The people living in that particular society, they are living happily together, they don't have any issues with any other person, right? If entire society is so happy that they are willingly helping each other, they are now means being happy, being comfort, being, without any issue. Is it easy to just imagine even, right? So it's not possible, right? So the society that is so ideal, which cannot be exist even, right, when God was there. As we are living in India, and according to our mythology, we have read about many things. There were people who were doing some, unwanted things. There were people who were, right, who were creating some issues for the society, right? So having a society that is so ideal that it is unlikely to actually exist, it was a vision which you will get to understand in the next given painting. A painter is having that sort of vision, and according to his vision, he painted something, and that painting became so important for you all. Now, in NCERT, if you go through the chapter, on the very first page, you will get to see that painting, and that painting is nothing else but a utopian vision of a French painter, which is describing that what was the will of people, what was the wish of people living in Europe, and how they immersed with that feeling, how he immersed with that feeling in his painting, that you will get to know. Okay, I have this painting. I have tried to explain this painting to you all. As this now, as in NCERT, like last year also, I have observed that the questions which comes in your exams, they actually, they can cover some pictures also. So it's very important. It becomes very important for you all to go through each and every picture which is given in your book. So this was a painting which was made by Frederick Souris. He was a French painter in 1848. He tried to portray the dream of worldwide democratic and social republic, the pact between nations, and a print prepared by Frederick Souris. Okay, this was the um, title of the painting which was given here. The dream, from the painting itself, you should understand that it is something, this painting is actually something which a painter is dreaming about. That means it is not so, but yes, a painter is dreaming about this sort of society. Now in this painting, you must see, if you see here, see Jesus Christ and some angels, you know, some heavenly powers can be seen this side, right? I have tried to cloud it. Now, this is a statue of liberty, right? Holding an enlightened torch in her hand. This is nothing else but a statue of liberty, and the people who are, walking, the men's and women's, and they are holding different flags. That means these flags actually tells you about the different nation state which we can have, right? So just keep on looking to the picture which is given in your book, and just go through the explanation which I am giving here. The first print shows the people of Europe and America marching in a long run and offering homage to the Statue of Liberty as they pass it. The torch of enlightenment was carried by a female figure in one hand and the Charter of the Rights of Man in the other. Right. That means the people of Europe and America, they are marching, right? They are following each other. They are they are walking in a queue, right? On the earth in the foreground lie the shattered remains of the symbols of absolutist institutions. That means they all are successfully marching, right, and where the absolutist institutions have been shattered here. Now it was a utopian vision. That means it was not so, but yes, this within the, if you have observed the painting, in the title it says, it is mentioned that it was a vision of Souris, right? The people of the world are grouped as distinct nations identified through their flags and national costume. That means if you see the picture, you can see people, those who are marching in a queue, they are dressed in different costumes, as they are from different countries. right? The leading country is United States. From the flag itself, you just see, if you see the flag, you will get to see that the march which is being followed by different countries is actually led by United States and Switzerland, and it is followed by France and Germany. The Germany people are the people of Austria, sorry, the kingdom of the two Silesies, Lombardy, Poland, England, Ireland, Ireland, Hungary, and Russia. Okay, then I have already given you by marking on the picture itself that the heavens above cries, saints, and angels gaze upon the scene. They have been used by the artists to symbolize fraternity among the nations of the world. That means, as I told you, that it is an utopian sort of vision of a painter, where he feels that all the heavenly bodies are gazing upon the scene, and they are blessing that yes, this should be true one day, right? So now, as if now this was the explanation which I have given for the painting, and it's very important. Just go through all these 5 points, and you should learn uh, all of them, so that while answer like question can come, that write some features of the painting which was given by Frederick Suri. What was the importance of like, what do you understand by utopian vision? Or you can get the which was the leading states in the painting given by Frederick Suri. So you can get the questions like that, so you should go through this explanation and try to learn this, right? Now in next slide we will be looking upon that how France moved towards nationalism, right? The French revolutions. What were the reformations and revolutions which took place in France, right? Okay, the French Revolution and the idea of nation. If, if you see, in 1785, nationalism came with French Revolution, and the political and constitutional changes led to the transfer of sovereignty from monarchy to a body of French citizens. Right, that means before uh, republican society, before having a separate nation state, the French people, they were actually governed by sovereignty. They were ruled by a monarchical government, right, where people were given orders, like people were, they were not having any other option. Whatever the rule was finalized by the uh, state, right? The Actually they were having a proper dynasties which were governed by the kings, right? So they wanted to shift from that monarchical rule, right? And they wanted to have a land, the fatherland. Here if you see, it is given as la patrie and la citoyen, means a fatherland, which for which they can feel their belongingness. Every citizen of that country should feel that yes, it is my place, it is my state, it is my country, right? So they wanted to move towards that particular state, right? They wanted to uh, you know wanted some changes which led to the transfer of sovereignty from the monarchy, right? So what were the changes which were seen? A new French flag, the tricolor, was chosen to replace the former one. That means, as like before it was a dynastic empire, so it was having a separate sort of different sort of flag. As they emerged with a new nation, they got their new tricolor flag. Then afterwards, the democracy, the republican state. Here I want to explain that what do you understand by republican state. Republican state is a state in which the government is elected by the people, right? Don't get confused with nation state and republican state. In nation state, I have already given you the explanation, right? But in republican, if it is asked that what do you understand by republican state, it's very simple, that wherever the people elect their governor, elect their government, right, that is called as republican state. Now democracy, after some the this republican society was there for 10 years, and after some time, democracy destroyed in France by Napoleon, and the civil code of 1804, known as Napoleonic Code, did away with all privileges based on birth, established equality before the law, and secured the right to property. So these two things we will be discussing in the next slide. For today I think it's enough for you all. Just go through the painting which we have discussed, and in the next slide you will get from the French Revolution itself. Thank you for paying attention to this slide. Thank you so much.